still sound the same to me, but I think this should be. Okay. I sound good. Okay, turn the background music off and check your. Angela, I'm not listening to you. Anywho. Oh, relax. Hold on, let me put up my thumbnail. Hold up. Just bear with me. We'll get started. Shall get started. Come on. Refresh. All right, there we go. Upload. Hey, all right, okay, let's get into it. I sound better now. All right, cool. All right, everybody. Let me repeat what I was saying earlier. So Terrence Howard put on a master class of acting in this series. No diss to any of the other actors, but he is leagues above everybody in this series. Somebody give this man an Emmy nomination, a Golden Globe nomination. He acted his ass off. He is Quentin Spivey. Like, we knew when the first Best Man came out, I don't know, 20 years ago, like, he was clearly the most charismatic, the most engaging character of them all. Like, anytime Terrence was on screen, he just took all the focus. It was all on him, right? And the character of Quentin Spivey is the glue that holds everybody together. He is the moral compass of the Best Man. He is an evolved man. He is an awakened man. He is a self-actualized man, and you see his growth and ascension far and above everybody else. Like, he's the guy, he's the wise old sage that always knows what to say, the right things to whoever in everybody's situation, predicament. Okay, so it's 8 episodes, about an hour a piece. It took me 2 days to binge it all, and like I said, just if I miss some things, listen, it happens. I can't catch everything, so don't hold it against me. All right. Oh, then also Robert Townsend, he directed episode 6. Like, Robert Townsend still has the directing chops. So shout out to Robert Townsend for directing, I believe, episode 6. All right. First episode is we have the recaps from the first 2 movies. And then there's a quick cut scene to 2024 where you see Harper right before his speaking engagement, and then they have a cutscene of Jordan. Okay, now clearly this is going to get a season 2. If you watch this, shout out to Peacock, NBC Universal. Once again, Peacock, giving black folk a solid. I will say this, the writers have been watching YouTube. The writers of this show have been watching YouTube, mainly black YouTube, and it'll show during this breakdown. They clearly been watching and listening to what people say, our people on YouTube, without question. There's certain phrases and terms, I was like, okay, they're taking notes, right? And towards the end of the series, real life situations, I felt myself getting triggered, right? I felt myself getting upset. That's when it's a pretty good written show. It draws out these emotions, and I'm sitting here like, yeah. All right, so once again, Hollywood is listening, whether you want to admit it or not. Of course, they had to shoehorn in the non-binary nonsense of the most alpha man of the wolf pack, which is Lance. If you didn't know, Lance's son LJ is non-binary, and it seemed like with each episode he's in, he got more fruitier and fruitier and fruitier, right? He's basically EJ, Magic Johnson's son. And by the end of this series, he's basically EJ. So when they first introduced LJ, he was nothing like, I guess that non-binary part hadn't come all the way out. But by the end of this series, the wrist is broken. By the end of this series, the wrist is broken and he's wearing full on makeup. But let's just get into it, man. So chapter 1, 2015. Shelby, had a stint on the Real Housewives of Westchester. She's talking to Andy. She has a product line called the Notorious SheLB. And then Andy asks Shelby, how does she feel about Quentin Spivey getting married? There's a flashback episode of Shelby angrily leaving a salon after learning about Quentin's proposed marriage. She attacks Quentin at his office because they're still messing around at that point. Okay. Nicole Ari Parker plays, what's her name? Shiara, aka the Unicorn. She plays the hell out this role. It's good to see Nicole Ari Parker back on the small screen. She plays the Unicorn, aka Shiara, Ziara, something like that. It starts with an X. Zioara, right? So she's like a global superstar, but she's really spiritual, and you'll enjoy this series. I guarantee it. Harper leaves his book, learns his book Unfinished Business is being turned into a movie. Harper's agent Stan mentions he's always talking about generational wealth. They've been listening, right? His agent is like, hey man, you're always talking about generational wealth, and now's the time to get it. That's your first clue. They've been listening to certain conversations on YouTube. Okay. So then Robin has a successful cooking, not a cooking show, but it's like, what is it like? It's like express ready-made cooking meals. Okay. And then Harper has doubts about the movie. Robin tells Harper to check with Lance first. All right. Candy Merch, Robin and Harper meet for lunch. Merch and Candy open two new charter schools. Candy's daughter knows about her stripper past. Quentin will be Harper's best man, not Merch. Okay. Shelby and Jordan meet for lunch. Jordan is single again, so if you remember in Best Man 2, she's with the white guy. She's no longer with the white guy. So clearly, the modern woman trope. The modern woman trope still exists with Jordan. All the accolades, she got the high powered job, all this and that, but no man. Okay. Merch and Harper go visit Lance. This is right after Mia, like a year after Mia died. So Lance is he's got this scraggly ass beard. He's fucking all these women because he's empty because he misses Mia. So they go to see Lance, and there's these escorts in the room. They walk out, and Harper says something like, "Man, they look like they've been built in a factory. These some big thick women, right? These some thick women." All right. And then Lance is still grieving the loss of Mia. Lance says he can't go home. She's in the furniture, the clothes, and the kids' faces. All right. Lance says he straps up about 75% of the time. Lance doesn't want to date. He doesn't want to feel that hurt again. Okay. The team then flies to San Pierre Island to go meet with Quentin and the Unicorn, because that's where the wedding is taking place. It's a destination wedding. Okay. Unicorn then fakes a mean girl act with Harper. The unicorn then sages everybody. And then Lance had is fucking the driver. So they're all waiting for Lance, and Lance is screwing the limo driver, the female limo driver. Okay. Harper then says Quentin is different. So Harper is like, this ain't Quentin, the Quentin that I know. So you know when you get that woman, a lot of guys make changes all of a sudden, attitudes, demeanors change. So Harper's like, this ain't the Quentin that I know, because he feels something is off with him being with the unicorn. Okay. Jordan takes phone calls from work because she's a workaholic. Okay. Lance gets there's this lady named Jasmine. She's the hotel manager. Okay. And then they discuss football, the real football, not the American football. Okay. Harper then tells Mia about the book and gets her blessing. Mia makes more work phone calls. Quentin tells the guys how he met the unicorn. He talks about leaving a legacy. Okay, they've been listening. They talked about when wanting to get married and leave a legacy. Quentin no longer smokes weed. The unicorn has Quentin on a different regimen. Okay, all this spiritual abajirical stuff, right? So then shows up Mr. Spivey. Put it right there. So then Mr. Spivey, Quentin's dad, shows up. Mr. Spivey tells Harper, don't let his daughter get fat unless she's smart. Then shakes his head. Okay. And then Mr. Spivey tells Murch he's glad he left Shelby. She would have had his balls in a vice, but he married a stripper. Okay. Then Mr. Spivey talks about the contract that the unicorn's people sent over. Mr. Spivey is concerned about Quentin taking over the family's business because the plan is to have the unicorn as the face of Spivey Properties with this marriage merger of businesses, corporations. She's a superstar. They got the family business. This is a business merger too. This is not just about a marriage of love. Okay. about the face of Spivey Properties worldwide. It's about he says it's about legacy. Keep hearing this legacy talk in this series. All right. Robin then meets a female chef named Savannah and tastes some of her cooking with love. So this is where Robin gets her ideas for moving forward in the series about wanting to try different things and cook for the people. She's realistic. She's Black Power. She's for the people, wants to feed the people, people. Okay. Quentin tells Harper he needed a partner. She elevates him. He didn't want to die alone. Okay. I told you they've been listening to certain conversations online. Okay. Lance goes skinny dipping in the public pool in front of Jasmine. Jordan flirts with a tech guy. Lance sleeps with 2 more women. Jasmine references Lance being lost. Harper is not sold on the new Quentin. Murch still is picking at Harper for being the best man for Quentin's wedding. Okay, that's some stupid subplot. Okay, Lance then opens up to Jasmine about Mia. Harper tells Lance about the move or about the movie. And Lance is like, I'll think about it. Okay. So then the unicorn addresses the crowd for the engagement ceremony, right? And they're getting matching tattoo rings. The wedding is in 2 days. Lance then snaps at Harper because he is dead. So they're all sitting at a dinner table. And Harper's like, hey, I want to get everybody's blessing for this movie. And then Lance, still in grieving mode, he's like, well, you can't get everybody's blessing because Mia's dead. Lance then accuses Harper of trying to ruin Q's wedding. He says Lance has always been a good judge of character. Lance, he said, and then Lance tells Harper, this is what happens when you're in love. Harper says he's just looking out for everybody. Lance says, just like you're looking out for everybody with this movie adaptation. Lance says he's never going to be ready to talk about the movie. Okay. He doesn't want to be reminded of his loss. Okay, or do the reminders of his loss end? So then Lance just storms off. Okay, and I love the dynamic between Lance and Harper, because clearly Lance is the leader of the wolf pack. It's almost like the head wolf snapping at one of the lower ranking wolves. You can see like Harper always like tensing up when Lance gets to barking at him and stuff. It's very animalistic in how they display the interaction when Lance goes off the rails. Okay, that's very interesting. Candy then chides Murch about being the best man. She then walks off. Shelby then shows up. Shelby was not invited. She just walks. She shows up out the blue. Quentin wants Shelby to leave. The unicorn meets Shelby. We got the old meeting the new. Shelby wants her lawyers to look at the contract before she gives her blessing for the movie. Now we get to episode 2. Quentin is upset and tells Shelby tells Q, Zio, that's her name. Zio is a unicorn. Q is a unicorn. Oh no, I'm sorry. So Shelby and Shelby and Quentin are bickering like they always do. She tells Quentin, you're a peacock. She's a peacock. Somebody has to play the background. She says, there's no Q in Zio. Shelby and Quentin then begin to argue, and then they later on have sex. Right? So then Lance has a flashback of Mia after being with another woman, and then he sees Jasmine running across the lawn. Harper wants to delay the movie. The agent is pissed. Robin then hangs out with Savannah the chef more. Murch gives up the idea of being the best man. The stranger that Jordan had met earlier. He curves Jordan, right? Shelby and Quentin have an on again, off again relationship of over 15 years. Okay, Zio, the unicorn, throws shade at Shelby. She knows she slept with Q, and then she asks Shelby, how does her pussy taste? The unicorn's a savage. Lance then tells Harper he couldn't perform with the woman the night prior and asks for a Jamaican root for help, right? Because he overhears Robin giving Harper a Jamaican root to help with erectile dysfunction. Okay, so Lance is like trying to get the root so he can get back to performing. All right. Then the group all together, they meet up and then they drink a psychedelic drink, and they all have these psychedelic visions, right? So everybody's having these different reactions to this LSD type of drug. Everybody's high. Jordan reflects on climbing the corporate ladder while high and then passes out. Lance is desperate to fix his erectile dysfunction and sees Jasmine, and they go running. Shelby tells Quentin this isn't him. Quentin says he's an evolved man. Shelby says Quentin only wants her for sex. Quentin says that's all she ever offered, and she had to protect herself. And then Zio is behind a tree watching and listening to them interact. Jasmine then tells Lance to focus on what makes him proud. The stranger that was talking to Jordan, they kind of connect. Jordan then talks about self-care. They agree to be casual friends. Harper then reiterates to Quentin he doesn't have to do this. Harper is resolute. Lance says his erectile dysfunction is disappearing. He's ready to date again, he believes. Lance then tells Harper to keep his integrity and get that paper. So Lance gave his blessing for the movie. Okay. Shelby then performs a striptease act for Quentin at his bachelor party. Harper then confronts Shelby about her pursuit of Quentin and booked her a flight for the next morning to leave the island. Zio confronts Shelby and tells her to stop fighting because no one else is. Shelby then warns Zio if she hurts Q, she'll come after her. Okay, so then it's the day of the wedding. Quentin leaves. He learns that Shelby left. So then Quentin and Harper go to the airport to catch Shelby. So then we had this whole love profession thing between Quentin and Shelby in front of the strangers at the airport. Quentin then asks asks her, what will he do without her? He's afraid of what he'll be without her. So for all you guys, this is where the simping comes in. He professes his love for Shelby, gets on both knees and begs her to not leave him. She professes her love for Quentin, and then they get married. They get married. Lance then sees Jasmine. Quentin made Murch his best man. Zio burned down the villa on her way out. So the last scene of Zio is her walking away, pan shot, and the villa is on fire, and she set the fire with a bundle of sage, and she walks off. All right. Okay, everybody gives their blessing for the movie, but Lance wants first dibs on who plays Mia. Shelby tells Quentin he's Kennedy's real father. Now remember in part 2, right? Quentin was the uncle to Kennedy because Shelby had this child and nobody knew who the father was. So for 10 years, Shelby told Quentin, just, be the uncle. But the entire time that was his kid. Okay? That was his kid. So then Robin kicks around the idea of staying in Saint Pierre and tells with Harper, she was like, why don't we just stay here? And he's like, no. Right? Back in New York, Jordan tries to meditate at work. She's the new head of NBC Universal. So she's a big dog at NBC Universal. All right, now chapter 3 or episode 3. We go back to 2016. Harper is mainstream. Robin's home meal kit takes off. So that's the same idea she got from the Jamaican or the San Pierrean chef Savannah. 2018, Jordan hires Anita Roberts. Candy begins her dispensary research. 2018, Shelby joins the Real Housewives of Westchester, I believe. And then she begins her Shelby brand. Spivey Properties expands locations. Now we jump to 2020. The pandemic hits, causes Spivey Properties to close the Paris location. 2021, Lance gets into the auto industry and gets fired from his sportscasting gig. Harper has a new book signing. Okay, so then Lance is doing a cologne commercial and he's having trouble trying to act. It's just like with the Rocky. Remember in the first Rocky, he was trying to do the commercial, but Rocky couldn't read. That's not the case here. It's just Lance just can't act, and he's trying to force it. And he's grinning. He's trying to grin it. Selling cologne, and it's a horrible take. Okay. So then Lance and LJ go over football drills. Okay. Harper and Robin go house shopping in the Upper West Side. Robin doesn't want to leave Harlem. Told you she's Black Power Ungawa. She's all about feeding the people and helping the people. While Harper wants to climb the social ladder as any man would. With more success you have, the more goals you set. Okay, but Robin is like, the people. I want to stay here in the hood with the people. Okay. Robin. Okay. Jordan gets dragged on Black Twitter as a coon, as a sample, as a coon for shucking and jiving for the white media. Robin doesn't want to leave Harlem. Harper wants to move up the social ranks. The girls have a book club. Shelby has 1.3 million followers on Twitter. That gives Jordan an idea for a new show. During the poker game with the guys, Harper wants to write deeper material. Spivey Properties nearly went bankrupt during the pandemic. Lance is trying to find his passion and purpose. All right, real quick. October, thank you for the 3 on the super chat. Air character with lovey-dovey eyes, blowing red hearts in the air. Y'all's ass. I'm not doing this with y'all today. Okay, we're not gonna do this with y'all. All right. Harlem. Okay. So now they do a pilot show with Shelby. The Q numbers on Shelby come back low. Q numbers are quotient numbers. Basically, this is the data that execs use to justify if a show is a success or going to be a failure during the pilot season or during the pilot episode. Okay. Harper's movie is going through reshoots. they're going to tweak Murch's character, and this is going to be important towards the end. Okay, they're going to tweak his character. Harper's agent wants another Bumper G book for a huge payout. Jordan begins popping aspirin because she's getting migraines now. Okay. Robin and Mia had a run-in with the cops at a demonstration. Once again, Robin, Black Power Ungawa, all about the people. They were at a demonstration. Her daughter was there. They got roughed up by the cops. Harper goes to the police station to pick them up. And he's like, what are you doing? You have my daughter in this situation, in the hood demonstration. She's like, I want to teach my daughter la 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 la. Okay. Harper berates Robin for lack of situational awareness because now his daughter, the daughter's involved. She done witnessed the cops acting a fool. Okay. Robin tells Harper to not tell her where she can take her daughter. This will come back again in the later series. Once again, this trope that women are entitled to, they believe the children are solely theirs. Okay. Somehow the man, if you didn't have the man's seed, there is no child. But when the woman has the child, for some odd reason, society tells the woman that child belongs solely to the mother. Which this dynamic, this trope will come back to haunt Harper later on. Okay. Okay. She takes a shot at Harper for clout chasing with the new house. Okay. Shelby attempts to soften her image for Jordan's show. Lance finds his passion after watching Stephen A. Smith sing the praises of a young upstart. The suits love the new Shelby. She had a 93% Q rating. The show is greenlit. Robin comes across Harper's new material, the deeper stuff that he wants to write. Okay. Not the Bumper G. He has a series called Bumper G, and that's what that pays the bills and is pretty popular, but it's like, it's fluff. It's, I want to write deeper, more meaningful stuff. Okay. As all artists, creative people go through, right? Okay. Robin comes across a new material. Okay. Robin agrees to move to the Upper West Side. So she allows Harper to buy the house and they move up to the Upper West Side. Jordan's old friend Demetrius shows up. Lance announces his comeback to football. He's 48 years old. All right, episode 4. Lance talks to LJ about strapping up. LJ fancies his goth military boots. So when his daddy leaves, Lance owns these pair of, I don't know, clear bottom Doc Martin type boots. So now you kind of get a sense of his fashion flair, right? This is what his non-binary side, gravitates towards too. All right. So then investors offer to buy Spivey properties. Murch becomes a Mr. Mom because Candy wants to go back to school to get her PhD. And Murch agrees to be Mr. Mom. Okay. So after lunch, Murch and his daughters come across an angry Karen over a cab. She accuses him of trying to steal the cab. The cops show up. One daughter's like, Daddy, let's just leave. The other daughter is in the cab like, Daddy, this is our cab. So Murch is in a catch-22. You got this angry white woman talking crazy, and he's surrounded by 3 cops. That's a no-brainer. Just take the L and keep it moving, okay? One of the daughters is upset that Murch didn't do anything. Murch wants to keep using the meds for their daughter. So Murch and Candy came up with an idea. They use edibles to help the oldest daughter deal with her anxiety. Okay, she has anxiety issues, so she's on a very light dosage of edibles to help keep her calm. Okay. Shelby discovers she has a crow's foot. So now Shelby is trying to fight the AIDS, Father Time. Okay. Quentin's dad chastises Quentin for wanting to sell the company. He accuses Quentin of always taking the easy route. Candy goes to Dr. Temple for direction of her dissertation. Demetrius and Jordan used to date. He was married at one point. Robin begins to flirt, or she begins an emotional affair with her produce guy. His name is Jaha. Pay attention to this part, okay? So then Quentin tells Murch he should have recorded his Karen encounter or got the badge numbers of the cops. LJ shows up to meet Jordan literally looking like EJ. He's non-binary. He goes by they, them. Now, Harper knows, Jordan knows all of this. Jordan's the godmother, so she knows all the kids' secrets. So LJ is doing shadow work for Jordan. So he shows up to work wearing a cape, the boots all blacked out, very J-esque, very Andre Leon Talley. There we go. That's what I was looking for. He shows up looking like Andre Leon Talley. If you know who Andre Leon Talley was, right? He's a fashion icon, fashion guru, black flamboyant gay man. Okay, so he came to Jordan's job looking like him. Okay, not so much EJ, but more Andre Leon Talley. All right. Jordan tells LJ that Lance won't accept him, but Jordan offers him to help him come out to Lance. Okay, Ms. Ursula works for Quentin's dad. She tells Q his dad fell twice, he's losing his memory, and he messed up the payroll. Kennedy, the daughter, Quentin's daughter, finessed a Chanel bag from Quentin. Lance takes a hard hit in practice and then quits his comeback. Quentin then goes to talk to his dad about his mental health. Mr. Spivey he's become a hoarder. His house is in total disarray. Mr. Spivey tells Q to do what he wants with the business because they sneak into the house and they discover it's a pigsty. And once again, this is where the acting of Terrence Howard comes in to shine. He starts crying. He's like, man, no, you're my daddy and I listen to you and all, but man, I can't have you living like this, man. I can't have you living like this, man. Look at yourself, man. I mean, just every moment of screen time, Terrence Howard is a masterclass. He is clearly leagues above everybody in acting. Clearly, all right. So then Dr. Temple comes to Candy and Murch's house for a dinner party. Dr. Temple tells Murch, you have to channel your anger or they win. Right? Because they're having that moment, how black elitists have that conversation with themselves. Like, yeah, man, with these white folk, you gotta focus your anger, right? It's always that conversation that Boulay members have with each other. Like, yeah, the struggle is hard. Yeah, but we gotta, okay. Jordan then buys LJ a Cartier tank watch. Lance takes the position of the new assistant coach with the Giants. Dr. Temple agrees to be Candy's academic advisor to help her with her dissertation. Shelby and Quentin help clean Mr. Spivey's house. LJ tells Lance he's quitting football. Murch comes across the same Karen out and about that accused him of stealing the cab. He balls his fist and then just walks by her. Murch then sees an MMA fight and becomes enthralled with it. Okay, so Murch is seeking ways to increase his manhood. All right. Okay. Chapter 5 or episode 5. Demetrius and Jordan go out on a date. Murch begins to train and is told he's good enough to compete. Robin then wants to buy a storefront for the produce guy, Jaha. So the same produce guy that she developed an emotional affair with, she wants Harper to buy this storefront so he can run it. Okay? She wants her husband to buy this storefront for her so the guy that she has an emotional situation with can run it. Mm, mm, mm. Lance tries to talk LJ back into football. Harper is out on the road. Kennedy does LJ's makeup. Quentin discovers LJ in makeup and voguing. Oh, so okay. Quentin comes down. He comes down because they're at Quentin's house. He comes downstairs and discovers LJ and Kennedy voguing. So at this point, LJ is in full Andre Leon Talley mode, and he's voguing. He's got the wig on. He's voguing. You know, coming. You know how they do it. They get the voguing, and they're recording it. And then Quentin sees this. He's like, "You know what? I ain't see nothing." Okay. Murch has his first sparring session and gets the best of his opponents. Quentin asks Jordan what is non-binary, and then tells the guys that LJ is non-binary. During Demetrius and Jordan's date, Jordan gets a migraine. Jordan puts up her wall with Demetrius. New Year's Eve, Lance accidentally calls Jasmine on IG Live. Like I said, they're back in New York. You know, she lives in Saint Pierre. He was following her Instagram, and he accidentally IG called her. Okay. Jaha, the produce guy, brings heaters over to Robin's house because the heat went out, and Harper's on the road, and it's very cold in the house. And he's like, "I'm on the road. I mean, hire somebody to fix it." Right? So she calls her emotional fling to bring heaters to the home. Okay. Candy and Murch partake in edibles while saying, "Fuck them kids." Jordan wants to spend New Year's with Demetrius. LJ tells Kennedy to post his voguing video. The storefront that Robin wanted for Jaha, it got sold. This is going to come back to bite Harper in the ass. Lance and Jasmine FaceTime each other. Jasmine has an estranged husband. Robin tells LJ she's not happy. He's always gone, and she tells Lance she's not happy. He's always gone and only focuses on him and his work. And then that's when Lance tells he texts Harper, "Whatever you gotta do, you need to come back home ASAP." Okay. Shelby then uses Finster to monitor Kennedy's account. She sees the voguing post they made. They just posted online. She then mirror casts it to the TV so everybody can see what's going on. And then Lance walks down the stairs. They're like, "Hey, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off." Lance sees his son doing the voguing thing in the Andre Leon Talley regalia with the wig. Jordan then tells Lance, "You need to talk to LJ." So then Lance is upset. He goes downstairs. Of course, Lance is in. He's got stupid red lipstick, and he's got the eyeshadow and this fool. Can you imagine like walking in on this dude, and he's in full makeup with his bright red ass lipstick, right? And so Lance is mad at everybody because everybody knew but him. Lance then confronts LJ. LJ is wearing makeup. Lance asks him if he's gay. LJ says he doesn't know. And wants to be a woman sometimes. Okay. LJ says he always felt different, says he doesn't have to choose. He can be the masculine side of himself or the feminine side because they're all him. He says he told everybody and nobody cares, but Lance says, "I care. I care." Now wipe that shit off your face. Candy and Murch return home. The older daughter got into some more edibles, and the house is a mess. Jordan and Demetrius spend the night together. Now we get to chapter 6. The unfinished trailer is released, and The character, Murch's character is called Cleavon. This is the episode directed by Robert Townsend. So the character of Cleavon, Murch, is portrayed as clearly a beta in the friend zone for the girl named Shardy, which is Shelby. Okay. Murch sees this during a training session again and then gets upset. Robin is upset. The spot had been sold. So she's blaming Harper for not pulling the trigger on buying a storefront he never saw, that she was going to have her emotional fling Jaha run it. Okay. She feels he doesn't take her wants serious. Harper says he never saw the place. Harper then runs down all of the flighty ideas she's had over the decades. She says he's never supported her 100%. Harper runs down the list. Food subscription service, give 25% to the needy, a vegetable garden that she never tends to. She then chides him for that being his version of being supportive. He's like, well, what more can I do? She wants him to show up sight unseen, no questions. He says, well, that's expensive. She says, so is this big ass house. He says, so now you have a problem with the house? If you didn't want to be here, you should have said you didn't want to be here. Then she screams, I don't want to be here. And this is pretty much where I pretty much hate the character of Robin. I hate that bitch. I hate that bitch. Listen. So Harper is a high value man. He's a conqueror. He's a master of his universe. Right? She's allowed to do her little side kitchen thing. But at the end of the day, it all revolves around him. I'm sorry. It all revolves around him. But I hate her character. I hate her. Let's continue. Where am I at? Where am I at? Needing festival garbage. Okay. Harper and Robin are in couples therapy. Robin feels she's not enough for him. He's always reaching for more. Well, if you're a conqueror, you're always looking for something to conquer. The next challenge, the next adventure, right? Harper says she leans on him for guidance. His success is her success. She then says, well, what about my success? Okay. Robin says their priorities are not aligned. She feels she takes a back seat to his work. This is the same trope. Remember back on Bel Air when Uncle Phil said, I'm going to drop out of the race, support Vivian so she can do her art thing. Remember that? Uncle Phil was running for mayor against the police chief. And Vivian's like, and so he dropped out of the race to support his wife, Vivian, so she can do whatever the fuck she wants to do, even though it's because of him she's allowed to do this flighty shit. This is where I have to dial my feelings back because I'm getting triggered watching this. Okay. All right. Harper says he feels attacked. Robin says she doesn't listen to her wants, her needs, but she's never verbalized her needs and wants to him. She says if she does, she feels like she'll badger him or become a nag. She keeps her thoughts to herself and just follow his lead, as you should. But let's continue. Robin isn't a mind reader, but she thinks of him. I was like, okay. Harper says Robin doesn't get the best version of him. He focuses on what's next instead of what is. Dr. Temple then submits Candy's research paper for viewership. Shelby is going through menopause. During the guys' poker night, Quentin tells Harper it's best to be on the out instead of the in so that you have a better chance, a better way of fixing it. Okay. Lance is in denial about LJ's sexuality. He's going through a phase, tells everybody. Murch then tells Candy he's not going to the movie premiere. Murch is visibly upset. Lance finds LJ's secret clothes stashed behind a fake wall in his closet. Quentin then checks on Murch about not going to the premiere. Quentin says he should just go to support Harper. Quentin calls him sensitive. Murch then says he's always seen as the sensitive bitch ass nigga. Murch then asks Quentin, has he ever had his manhood questioned by his friend? Murch then says they all do. They all treat him like he's soft or a punk. Murch says everybody has a breaking point, and when he sees himself portrayed on the screen by millions of people by a so-called friend, it hurts his feelings. It angers him, and then Murch walks off. Okay, that was deep. It was deep. It was a well-acted scene. Okay, back in couples therapy, Robin says she can't go to the premiere because she can't go to the premiere. Jordan has a blind spell in the meeting. Shelby makes her a doctor's appointment. She asks Shelby to investigate Demetrius' shell company. Okay. Robin then wants to go to the food raiser event the night of her husband's movie premiere. She agrees to go but leave early. Shelby then tells Harper Demetrius' company, the shell company, is the second largest investor in private prisons. And this is going to be a key philosophical point in the next episode. Okay. Candy makes a day to see Dr. Temple to go over her dissertation notes. Murch hides his training injuries. Lance buys LJ a Tom Ford suit for the movie premiere. Candy then chastises Murch about scheduling. Now, Murch is being Mr. Mom. It's, once again, the men are taking L's in this series, right? It's so you have one man in Harper that's going to be punished for, being a conqueror, being a master of his universe, going out and to protect and provide. You have another man in Murch who has been reduced to Mr. Mom status, and the wife is still not pleased, right? The only successfully stable man that runs his house without any issues is Quentin. Quentin is the evolved man once again. All right. And then you have Lance, Alpha Lance, whose firstborn son is now non-binary. So the men are taking huge L's in this series. Huge L's, except Quentin. Okay. LJ is wearing a gay shirt with the suit. So then Lance is like, change your shirt. And Lance kind of walks up on him like, boy, if you don't change that shirt. So then LJ says, fine. What did he say when he says, change your shirt? He says, I'll change my shirt. Real sassy. So like I said, every episode you see this boy in, he gets more sassier and more zestier with every moment of screen time. Like I said, from the first introduction in episode 2 or 3 to episode 8, he's full-blown EJ. You just see the transition. You just see it. Mannerisms, speaking voice, right? In the very beginning, he's got some bravado about him. About episode 8, he's just like, he's completely broken wrist. Okay? Completely broken wrist. All right. They're watching the movie. They're at the movie premiere. And then they're reminiscing. LJ says he misses his mom because there's a scene between Lance and Mia, right? But in the movie, Lance is a basketball player. Okay. The infamous sex scene between Jackson and Kendall takes place. Everybody's really uncomfortable. Demetrius gives Jordan a side eye because he's like, so this is what you do in college. You sleep with your boyfriend's best friend. So he's looking at her like, you whore. Right? Okay. Even though this was in college, but still, a man's going to look at her like, oh, that's what we on. Okay. Okay. Dr. Temple then sexually assaults Candy in his office because they didn't go to the premiere, remember? Okay. It's the after party. Demetrius shades Harper for his little project, calling it 90s black nostalgia is a good look, but it's not how he remembers college. Harper then says, well, it's the filmmakers. I just turned in my notes. Demetrius says, oh, so they just pushed you to the side. I see. I guess that's what happens when you have no real power. So then Harper stands up like, what did you say? Lance overhears this, and then Lance comes to get Harper, and they go have a drink. Okay. Jordan confronts Demetrius, then she walks away. Lance tells Harper Mia would have liked the film. Harper tells Lance to show up for LJ. Show up for LJ. Show up and show him love. Okay. Harper then leaves early to go to Robin's event. Okay. So Harper's trying. Demetrius tells Jordan it's not his fault. He can't control his shit. She says he was exploited. Jordan brings up the private prisons and then walks away again. Lance watches LJ dance like a fairy on the dance floor. So Lance is at the bar. Here comes Jordan, and he's just sitting there watching LJ just do the gayest type of dances imaginable. Even I as a father, I'm just like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? All right. Lance then accuses Jordan of encouraging LJ's behavior. Jordan tells Lance he needs to accept who he is. Lance tells Jordan she needs to back off. Okay. Harper then leaves for another after party. Only Jordan shows up. So it's just them two again. Everybody else flake. Candy comes home while Murch is sleeping on the couch. And then she has a quiet little cry to herself. Right? Quentin has a heart attack at the home after the party. Okay. We get to episode 7 or chapter 7. Quentin had a minor heart attack. Harper and Jordan show up to the hospital looking suspicious. They're the only ones that showed up together. Earlier that night, Harper and Jordan read the movie reviews. Jordan then tells Harper Demetrius is not her man. Harper doesn't come home until the next morning. Robin has been invited to Ghana to be a special chef for the summer. She wants everybody to go. Murch MMA fight, his first MMA fight goes viral at his academy, so the students see that his first fight is going viral. Shelby begins to cook vegan foods for Quentin. Jordan's doctor thinks she's pregnant. So that means you're out here having unprotected sex in your 40s. Okay. Candy is accused by another parent of giving her kids edibles. Remember, the oldest daughter takes edibles to control her anxiety. She done ran her mouth to another girl that she tutors. That girl that she tutors told her mama. Mama came to the school looking for Candy like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Shelby then sells all of Quentin's cigars. Demetrius tries to make up with Jordan. Jordan says their values don't align. She's fighting for diversity and inclusion for the empowerment of black people. Here's where it gets deep. Demetrius he says, you know, your pension plans and your mutual funds, most people fund private prisons and they don't even know it. She says, well, you chose to do so. He says he chooses to rebuild and re-educate, replace staff, and inform the culture from within. With the prisons he invests, he can still love his people, get the money, and reinvest back into black people. Then he walks off. That's how you do it. The spook that sat by the door. That's how you do it. Of course, she doesn't agree. She wants to fight from the outside. You'll never win from the outside. You have to get inside. Everybody knows that. That's classic military subterfuge. Okay. Flashback scene again, back to the movie premiere with Harper and Jordan. Now we cut to the future. Lance is having his number retired. Harper gets word they want a sequel to the movie. Candy then yells at Keisha for telling people Candy gave her edibles to control Keisha's anxiety. Murch and Candy bicker about the lack of support. Candy then walks off. Quentin wants to have sex, but Shelby is scared. Quentin is having a hard time with adjusting to getting older. Okay. Robin is upset Harper missed family dinner. She makes a Ghanaian dish. He doesn't eat it because it's nasty to him. Lance then boxes up LJ's girly clothes to give to women's shelter, and he cancels his credit cards. Lance squares up on LJ because LJ's talking smack. Because LJ said, Lance is like, oh, so you're a man now, so this is your moment. This is your moment, right? So he dares him to come on, go ahead and say it. God knows what's in your heart. God knows what's in your mind. Go ahead and say it. So then LJ says, sometimes I wish he was you instead of mom. And he walks off. Lord have mercy. Yo, I'd have yoked that kid up. I'd have yoked him up. But anywho, all right. So then Jordan tells Shelby she might be pregnant. Shelby thinks Jordan and Harper had sex the night of the premiere. There's a flashback again to the movie premiere after night. Harper goes to Jordan's apartment and then they reminisce. So it's a repeat of the first Best Man movie all over again. LJ then runs away from home. Robin then tries more African dishes for Harper to try. They try fufu and some other stuff. Okay. Harper's schedule is conflicting with Robin's tour in Ghana. Harper says he's trying to secure the second film more money. They can take multiple trips to Ghana whenever they want. She says, I just want only one trip to Ghana. Okay. This is the breaking point. Candy then begins to detail her experiences with Dr. Temple to the university president in an email. Robin tells Harper she wants a divorce. She says she's given him decades and he can't give her 1 month. Murch has his MMA debut live stream. Candy then sees the fight and then runs to the match. Okay, Lance then leaves the fight early to go look for LJ. Murch wins his first match. There's a flashback again to Jordan's farm. Okay, back to Jordan's place after the movie premiere. They begin to make out. Until Shelby calls. Murch then tells Candy sometimes he just wants to roar. Right? Candy then shows Murch her letter to the president about Dr. Temple, but they have a little heart-to-heart. Harper tries to talk to Robin. Robin then questions Harper about the night of the premiere, and then Robin reads some of Harper's newest material. Very passionate, and as they're reading, as he looks and reads it because she's seen it, she already read it. Then he flashes back to when he was making out with Jordan. Okay, now we get to chapter 8, episode 8, the final episode. Flashback to Lance and Mia giving birth to LJ. So then everybody's at Lance's. They all meet to look for LJ. Okay. Lance answers the cops' questions, but Jordan gives more info that Lance didn't know. Lance didn't know he had a tattoo, and Lance didn't know none of his little friends, right? His little special friends. Okay. Kennedy tells Lance of LJ's friend. Lance and Jordan go to see LJ's friend. His name is Lex. Oh my God. So Lex is LJ's friend. This kid Lex looks like a young Jermaine Stewart. I shit you not. Listen, if Jermaine Stewart reincarnated, he came back in that young man. He's a dead ringer for Jermaine Stewart. He's got these long dreads, right? He's got the nose pierced. Dead on Jermaine Stewart. He's got this high ass voice. I was waiting for him to break out saying we don't have to take our clothes off. I wait for him to sing the song. He looks and sounds just like Jermaine Stewart, right? And Lex says LJ was tired of hiding and possibly talked about moving to the city or to LA. Lance hears there's a possible body over the police scanner. He thinks it's LJ, but it's not. Harper's doctor called. She's not pregnant. She's kind of sad that she's not. She wanted to have an unexpected reality instead of a planned reality. He says it's probably her last chance to be a mom. So now it's catching up to her. Like, your career, you got all this accolades, but you have nothing else besides, you have no family. You don't have a little person. Okay. Lance is appreciative of Jordan being the godmom. Lex calls Lance. LJ's at the church for non-binaries. Okay. Pastor Calvin is the pastor of this church for the little black non-binaries. LJ tells Lance the non-binary committee saved his life. He asks, how can God love him unconditionally but not his dad? Now you're gonna guilt trip your dad. That's where the guilt trip comes in. The next day, Mia is looking for her dad. Mia is Harper and Robin's kid. You know, they named their kid after Mia. Okay. She's looking for her dad. Robin ignores her question. She's like, "Mommy, where's Daddy?" And she's laying in bed crying. Okay. 4 months later, divorce proceedings. Robin says she's taking Mia to Ghana. Harper asks, how can they co-parent from two different countries? So then later on, the guys tell Harper, how is he going to stop her? Murch tells Harper divorces will be nasty and expensive. Quentin says, do what you gotta do to stay in your daughter's life. At Quentin's house, Robin finds out Harper filed for custody. So she's irate. Never mind, you just said you're going to take his kid to Ghana, but you're mad because he filed for custody. So here's where the big fight comes in. This is where all the hypocrisy comes in and all the nonsense with the women. This is how women, they lay it out for you, okay? So then Robin accuses Harper of trapping her and putting himself first. She's not a character in his book. Harper calls her a fake African Kunta Kinte. Robin then calls him an Uncle Tom, and then she leaves. Harper tells Murch he ran out of options. Murch says there's plenty of options. And I'm sitting here like, where? And this is kind of where the reality does not meet the fantasy of the fiction of the series. I'm like, if your soon-to-be ex-wife is saying she's taking her kid to Ghana, what other options do you have at this point? Okay. And then Murch goes in on Harper. He says Harper always chooses himself over doing the right thing. Shelby then asks Harper, does he not see what he's doing to Robin? And that she is her mother, and that mothers always have the best interest of the child. Harper then says, so lying to Kennedy about Quentin being her uncle was in the best interest for keeping Quentin away for 10 years? So then Quentin makes the Will Smith joke, you keep your name out my wife's name out your mom now, nigga. Right, the Oscar joke. And then he tells Shelby, Harper is only doing whatever to keep his family together. You have to respect that. Shelby says, fuck that. And then Jordan jumps in Shelby's face. Okay. Now at Atlanta's number retiring, the kids pose for photos. LJ is in full flame mode. Okay. Lance then says he accepts and is proud of LJ. Harper shows up to support, then leaves early. Jasmine shows up. She moved to New York. Quentin has another health scare. He's upset about not being respected in his house. He then starts to grab his chest again, and then Kennedy calls him dad as she calls 911. Mia and Harper go for a walk. She feeds a homeless man. This is his daughter at this point. This is right before they leave. Shelby then comes home to Quentin trying to cook vegan food. Quentin says he's not ready to die and he's ready to make better choices. Shelby says Quentin is her life, and she decides to age gracefully. Harper tells Robin he's withdrawing his custody claim and gives his blessing. It's leaving day, and then Mia the daughter asks her daddy, well, can you come with us? Can you come with us? And then Harper then begs Robin to stay. She tells him he'll never change and she can't be his version of her anymore. She gets in the truck and leaves. Later on that night, the guys show up to Harper's to play spades. Later on, Jordan quits her job as an NBC exec. She's now doing consulting and has a startup company and does passion projects. Jordan tells Harper she can't be his safe landing spot. He needs time. But if fate brings them back together, season 2, 2 years later, Harper is promoting his new book, Pieces of Us. Harper is a Pulitzer Prize winning author. Harper's crushing it. Harper's crushing it. All right. And then Mia shows up to the States and visits her dad, Harper. Lance and Jasmine get engaged. There's your series. There's your series. Season 2 is coming. This is a pretty good show. If you don't watch it for anything else, watch it for Terrence Howard's acting. His chops, magnificent. He's always been a great actor, given the right roles. You know what I'm saying? So, once again, Hollywood is listening to certain conversations online. Me breaking it down doesn't hit the same. You have to hear it in the show, how the lines are spoken. You know what I'm saying? So definitely they're paying attention to the gender dynamics, right? And then how men and women, when it comes to children, marriages, the man always loses out pretty much. It's like you're punished for being productive. You're punished for being productive. So with that being said, yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm sorry I didn't catch everybody's comments and all, but I just want to do that breakdown quick before the new year ended. So I want to get, happy fake pagan New Year to everybody. Wait, I only watched 2 episodes of this series. If it was good, yeah. I mean, just go ahead and knock it out, binge it real quick. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, the LJ, his character, every episode. Yeah, you say he's quitting. I don't believe it. Listen. He has not amassed that amount of money to retire from acting, unless he has something stupid crazy on the side. I can't see him retiring from acting. I just don't see it. I don't know what investments he's made, but the monies he's made from Hollywood, no, that's not retirement money. You know. Let me see what else. So yeah, happy New Year to everybody. You know what I'm saying? I think somebody gave me a super chat. Did I catch a super chat? I'm sorry. Let me get through all these comments, and I'm gonna get up out of here. And everybody enjoy the rest of y'all night. Y'all be safe out here. You're the weirdos out here. Yeah, Ayahuasca. Yeah. So Candy's all into the herbal. She's a full blown herbologist, right? Flashbacks of that ass beat. Yeah, this series was decent, man. It was decent. I'm way behind on these comments, y'all. Okay, I got October's super chat. Okay. Kendra, hey. K2B2 Roses, hey, what's happening? Man, I'm really behind on these comments. They didn't want to spread the gate too thick. I mean, yeah, it was pretty light, but once again, more black males. Listen, just go to episode 8 so you can see little Jermaine Stewart. Yo, go to episode 8 just so you can see little Jermaine Stewart. Just go to episode 8 so you can see little Jermaine Stewart. I swear to God. He's Jermaine Stewart reincarnated. I shit you not. As soon as he walks out, like, that's Jermaine Stewart. He's been de-aged. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, see, I see you, bro. All right, right on. Happy New Year's to everybody. Okay. All right, I'm getting close to these comments. I'm getting close. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Listen, the way Robin's character, I despise that character, man. Like, if I saw Sanaa Lathan, I'm like, bitch, what you did to Harper was wrong. Like, I wouldn't be able to separate her from the character. I'd be like, no, bitch, you did Harper wrong. Harper's flawed, but he's flawed for good reasons. Like, his mistakes because he was trying to do the best thing that he thought, right? So I can understand that. But yeah, basically in this entire season, Harper's been punished for being productive and for wanting to go out and conquer. Because his whole thing was, okay, let me go out and make all this money so then my family can do whatever they want, whatever we want, right? Because once again, when those trigger words, that generational wealth, you just knew they've been listening to online conversations. All right. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Is it better than Bel Air? Wow, which one is the better written show? Bel Air or this? I'm gonna give it to Bel Air only because of Terrence Howard's character. They're writing for his character. Okay. Only for the writing for his character. I will put it over Bel Air overall as a better written show. Listen, Quinn is the glue. Is the glue. He's the tie that binds everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure after they get the numbers back, they'll greenlight a season 2. But if you haven't seen it, go see it. Because we always complain about the lack of quality with these shows. NBC Peacock has given us 2 very good black shows. Okay, so here's what it is. All right. Oh, Farron, thank you for the 10 on the super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, and one funny story. I will never, ever go on Shade Room and post a comment ever again. So I made the mistake. I follow Shade Room on IG, and Shade Room posted that 2 Nollywood movies were debuted in America. Right, so everyone's happy, cheering, and all this stuff. And I made a post. I said, wait a minute, why y'all supporting a group of people that don't like? I said, didn't last week they just say they didn't like you, or all last month they were saying they didn't like you? Why would African Americans be supporting, the Nigerian movies? They just last month. And listen, I'm still getting comments. I've been attacked. I've been defended. I've been attacked. I will never make that mistake again. I will never post a comment on Shade Room post ever again. Ever again. So I'm gonna get out of here. Thank y'all everybody for hanging out. Yes, go finish watching binging the Best Man, the final chapters. It was just for Terrence Howard alone is worth the watch. So with that being said, thank you all. We'll catch y'all in the new year, on the fake new year, the fake new pagan year tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Peace.